Hi guys, Joe here, and welcome to 750 Gaming. In this one, we'll reflect on the announced retirement of some of the Firstborn Space Marines. Okay, so I've got a few other videos and things lined up with regards to Combat Patrol and my ongoing 9th edition to 10th edition army projects, but there's still some work in progress there, and we've got a few family holidays booked over this summer, so rather than not put out any content for a month plus, I thought I'd quickly reflect on something a little close to my heart and relevant to my journey in this hobby. And that's Games Workshop's recent announcement regarding a few Firstborn Space Marine units that will be going the way of the Legends Vault. Only in death does duty end. Or, retirement. I'm a bit surprised. Well, actually, no, that's a lie. I'm not surprised in the slightest, actually. But with the advent of 10th edition, I thought that Games Workshop had maybe missed a trick. I thought there was an opportunity to just completely do away with this Primaris label. We know the bigger boys have been around for a few editions now and have kind of been integrated into people's headcanons and all of that, and I looked at all the data cards and saw how Games Workshop had actually gone to all the effort to make rules and stat lines and resources for all the Firstborn units, as well as the Primaris dudes, and I thought, well, why didn't they just drop the labels and the distinctions? Each unit, regardless of its genesis, had its own unique battlefield role, so why the need to actually differentiate now? Why the need for Tacticus or Primaris or Firstborn or whatever? That would be one heck of a bone to throw at the varying tastes and preferences existent within our community, right? People like myself who prefer Primaris size aesthetics could kit bash up their intercessors as a tactical squad if we felt like we wanted to include that versatile unit in our armies. Or likewise, those with a nostalgic hearkening for the Firstborn Angels of Death could easily convert up some older school Marines to play as assault intercessors, etc. If you've followed my channel or my Instagram for a bit or seen any of my other videos, then you'll already know I've done the former. Not with a tactical squad, but I've got a Primaris-sized captain with jump pack and a Primaris-sized assault squad with jump packs that I use for my Black Templars. I've also looked at the captain on a bike and used an outrider to kit bash up a Primaris-sized one to be my Khan captain on a bike for my White Scars. And we know people have already been converting up ATVs to proxy as attack bikes and vice versa, depending on what unit they want to run. Games Workshop even state in their retirement article that they seem quite happy for people to proxy whatever they want as whatever they want, actively encouraging you to run your old school bike squads as outriders or your assault squads as vanguard vets. Outside of competition play, of course. So in my mind, there was an opportunity to just officially drop those labels and let everyone play with what they've already got as whatever they want to play it as. But of course, why would Games Workshop ever do that? They've got a business to run and money to make by getting everyone to buy new miniatures. But, the opportunity was there. Obviously, they didn't do that, nor did they retire the Firstborn Space Marines at the time of the new edition of the game launching, or choose to retire them when the codexes come out in another 6 months or so. No, they created a load of rules and abilities and gave all the Firstborn Space Marines unique battlefield roles so that we could all still consider them as part of our armies, and paint up some units and do some list building, including them all, getting ready for 10th edition, and then can them after 3 months? Which is why I'm surprised in a gameplay respect, at least, because as I mentioned just now, it would have made far more logical sense from a gameplay point of view and a people purchasing power point of view to have dropped any units you were planning to drop either at the beginning of the edition or at the launch of the new Space Marine Codex. Of course then, I'm simultaneously unsurprised because it also makes perfectly logical sense from a business point of view to keep everyone and their units on side and playable at the start of a new edition and gradually phase stuff out as you go through to keep as many people happy and interested in the game as they can, which is, what they've done. And it all kind of makes sense, because when the Space Marine Codex comes out, there are going to be a ton of units. And so dropping them now and not including them in the codex in another 6 months' time will save an awful lot of paper or digital material. But it is what it is. So let's look at these units that they are actually putting out to pasture and think about what it might mean for the future of the Space Marine range. First off, bikes. Well, yeah, you've got Outriders and an ATV now, which are pretty much like for like in many senses with regards to how they're used in the game. This retirement will affect some more than others. Mainline faction-wise, the Raven Wing of the Dark Angels mostly, but I imagine what it means is that there will either be some Raven Wing specific Outriders, or some sort of Primaris jet bike type thing coming out, or at the very least a Raven Wing upgrade sprue. We've had a Primaris Azrael and Ezekiel and now the Lion, so I would also be expecting some kind of Primaris Samael, etc. along with it all. With regards to the White Scars, of course, the Khan on the bike unit did get dropped before 10th edition launched, which whilst disappointing was okay considering all the war gear changes and things, which mean that a captain on a bike still works fine as a Count's as or proxy or whatever. And if you want to run him attached to a squad of Outriders, you can. The only issue is scale. It does look a little bit odd, hence why I kit bash my own Primaris Outrider sized captain on a bike, Khan on a bike. But again, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Primaris captain on a bike to arrive, just as the Primaris chaplain on a bike did a few editions ago. And again, this would blend in quite nicely with a lot of the Raven Wing stuff too. So, bikes more or less covered there then. Scouts on bikes. Yeah, they won't be a thing anymore. I think they're very, very niche these days. I don't think anybody actually plays them. I think they use them as proxies. I certainly wanted some a long time ago, but never actually got any. So I'm unsurprised that they are going the way of the retirement vault. The scouts themselves have kind of also had their battlefield roles superseded by a lot of the Phobos armoured guys. The infiltrators or incursors do have that advanced undercover scout thing, and the sniper rivals are kind of now covered by the eliminators, so all that's left to consider is the actual Space Marine in training existence as per the lore and fluff. When the Black Templars had their latest codex and model line release, we all imagined that the neophytes would get some sort of generic release to supersede those older scouts, and it would make sense that scouts from now on are Primaris size scouts anyway, so that's kind of what I'd expect soon. You'd think newly recruited non-Primaris Space Marines seem highly improbable these days anyway, though of course the universe of the 41st, 42nd millennia is a big place. Librarians and Tech Marines, well, yeah, they've got Primaris equivalents, and just like the First Born Chaplains haven't been around since Indomitus, and considering we've got a new sexy Terminator Librarian with 10th edition, it makes sense to drop the First Born variants of these guys too. The Tech Marines again are going to be a bit more niche and only really taken by Iron Hands players these days anyway, so it's unsurprising that the Firstborn sculpts get dropped from production, and if you did want to attach a Firstborn Librarian to your Firstborn Tactical Squad for any reason in game, then, you know, just proxy in your Primaris Librarian instead. I also think they look cooler. Command Squads? Well, there's Primaris versions of all these models now, for one, and you know, Command Squads don't really make sense with 10th edition. Each character goes and attaches to other units as part of the new army building rules, and as such, a load of character models set apart into their own multi-model unit really doesn't work anymore anyway. Thunderfire Cannons and Stalker Hunters, well, I can't remember the last time I actually came across these heavy support choices. I mean, I don't play games with aircraft, and rarely watch any, so the Stalker Hunter anti-aircraft tank is definitely lesser spotted in my circles, and in fact, I can pretty much say for certain, I've never actually seen a Thunderfire cannon in the wild, so I just don't think they sell anymore, if they did at all really. Games Workshop need to stop making them, and if you're going to stop making them, you kind of have to stop including them as options in game, lest someone decide they want to field one and then realise that the models for them don't exist, and then you end up with 100 million different proxies for this, that and the other, and yeah, just get rid of them. With regards to the old boxy dreads, yeah, nostalgia feels for sure, But let's face it, if you want a dreadnought these days, then Redemptors are the meta. So you're not selling the old boys anymore. You've got to follow suit. There's just likely going to be a fair few of them still doing the rounds, so you can see how they're going to be slowly phased out, one model at a time, until eventually there aren't any more boxy dreadnoughts at all, rather than all of them all at once. But there you go. Again, the assault squads make sense for this round of unit dropping. Everyone's been Vanguard vet crazy over the last few years, and so assault squads have seen limited battlefield outings. I think they got buffed significantly with the new rules. And with the blanket generic weaponising of the Van Vets, I think the assault squads actually got a bit more appealing with their multi-weapon flexibility. By me especially. I smashed up my Black Templar Van Vets and kit-bashed my own Primaris-sized assault squad. With chainswords and pistols and one with a flamer, they are a lovely little airborne crusader squad. Or they were. I've actually written a script for a video on my Black Templar do-over project, and I'll have to rewrite a bit now. But I know I'm not the only one who likes a Primaris-sized kitbash of the Flyboys. And with the release of the Space Marine 2 computer game starring Titus with a jump pack, I think it's likely there's going to be some kind of next to like-for-like range refresh, just in true scale. They won't supersede the Vanguard vets yet. I think there's too many units out there on the battlefields as they were the meta for the last edition, but with their recent nerf, I think they'll gradually become less popular and lesser spotted, and they can then be replaced during the next cycle. See the Sternguard vets, I guess. So, land speeders then. Gonna be honest, this is the one that got me right in the feels. I love them. They are the only true firstborn unit I still have and include in my armies that isn't proxied or kit-bashed into a Primaris-sized equivalent. One, because you can't really tell that they are firstborn in their little cockpits, and two, I just think they are still really quite cool. I got a pair of them for a steal off of eBay when going through my 3rd edition Black Templar nostalgia homage coming back into this hobby a few years ago, and I've included them in my Black Templars ever since. Again, I'm rewriting that script. However, I appreciate that I likely got them for a steal, due to their general declining popularity in the wider community. And let's face it, if you did want a skimmer type unit these days, then we've got the Storm Speeders to call upon. A bang-on Primaris Landspeeder evolution. So, go figure. And as with everything else, it means that they get dropped from production too, and therefore the rules. So, I do get it, even if it maketh me sad. Again, sub-faction wise, it will affect the Ravenwing more than anyone else, considering they use a Talon Master, i.e. a special Ravenwing Langspeeder, so I imagine along with all the other Ravenwing refreshes I'm expecting, we'll see some sort of Stormspeeder Talon Master equivalent. And yeah, that's your lot. What does it mean for the future of the Adeptus Astartes and the rest of the Firstborns? Well, the writing's been on the wall for a while now anyway, and this is just another nail in the coffin. There aren't going to be many unique Firstborn units left sooner rather than later. I imagine we'll lose the Devastators next, with the advent of the new Primaris Desolation squads and the Hellblasters, etc., and we'll start to lose all the Firstborn characters too, as they begin to cross the Rubicon with everybody else. And as they are the last units that can really jump into a Razorback, that'll be the end of that beauty as well. The Vanguard vets will soon be gone, or supersized once all the airborne squads have been re-evaluated, and with the superseding of a few more Rhino Hold tank variants, I think we could see the tactical squad and the Rhino itself standing as the last units or combos of Firstborn lineage. I think that those may last out to the beginning of 11th edition, but then, dare I say it, that will probably be that. Now, if you know me, you'll know that I am all about Primaris Space Marines. I've said plenty of times previously I just prefer the aesthetic. Not everyone's taste, I know, but for someone who dipped a teenage-sized toe in editions 2 and 3, skipped editions 4 through 8, and has come back 20 years later with different likes, dislikes, and, other than a tinge of nostalgia, no overwhelming affinity or loyalty to the Firstborn Space Marines, safe to say I'm sold on the true scale super soldiers. Hashtag sorry not sorry. But I am still sad to see some of these units go. If not necessarily all of the models. I will inevitably find a way to keep my land speeders flying around, and we'll have to wait and see what comes in place of the once mighty assault squads and what I can now proxy my airborne crusader squad as. I mean, I obviously don't play competitively, and I know all the guys I play with will be more than happy to see land speeders in their crosshairs forevermore, so I'm not concerned about that. But of course it's nice to stay relatively relevant, if only so as not to confuse the newer inductees of this community and hobby with my relics of the past. My new dark age of technology, so to speak. But how did you react to this news? How does it affect you and your army lists? How will it affect your approach to building and playing in 10th edition? What are you going to convert and proxy and keep? What are you sad to see go? What are you delighted to throw onto eBay? Let me know in the comments section below, as I love to read what you've all got to say. Fingers crossed, I'll have some more Combat Patrol content coming here soon. As ever, I look forward to seeing you there next time. Thanks for watching. Let's go! As always, I just do this for fun and make these videos when I can. I don't have a regular release schedule, they just happen when they happen. So, if you want to make sure you don't miss a beat over the next few months and going forward, then hit subscribe so you can catch these when they come. If you enjoyed this or any of my other videos, then do hit that like button, as it really helps boost my ego, and do come check me out on Instagram for all my hobbying updates. Hopefully, I'll see you in the next one.